As Canada prepares for a pivotal leadership transition, the name that looms large over the race to succeed Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is none other than Donald Trump. The upcoming leadership contest within the Liberal Party has become increasingly defined by the complex and often contentious relationship between Canada and the United States, particularly in light of Trump's aggressive trade policies and tariff threats. The political landscape in Canada has been marked by Trudeau's leadership, which has faced both commendations and criticisms. Trudeau's tenure has not been without its challenges, including controversies and public discontent over various domestic issues. However, what has emerged as a significant factor in the leadership race is the looming question of how to effectively engage with the incoming U.S. administration under Trump, who has demonstrated a willingness to leverage tariffs and trade negotiations as tools of foreign policy. At the forefront of this leadership race is Chrystia Freeland, who has officially announced her candidacy. Freeland has served as Trudeau's finance minister and deputy prime minister, roles that have equipped her with a deep understanding of both domestic and international economic policies. Her resignation from these positions in December came as a shock to many, but it has also positioned her as a formidable contender in the leadership contest. Freeland is strategically crafting her campaign narrative around her experience as a negotiator, particularly in relation to trade. She has taken on the mantle of a trade hawk, emphasizing her willingness to retaliate against U.S. tariffs with significant measures that would target American exporters directly. This framing not only resonates with national pride, but also aims to reassure Canadian voters that their interests will be fiercely protected on the international stage. In a recent op-ed for the Toronto Star, Freeland articulated her stance on the threat of potential 25% tariffs imposed by Trump. She underscored the need for a robust and calculated response from Canada, arguing that any retaliatory measures must be dollar for dollar and precisely and painfully targeted. This approach signals a shift towards a more aggressive trade posture, one that aims to counterbalance the economic leverage that the U.S. holds over Canada. Her statement is not merely rhetoric. It reflects the gravity of the situation. Freeland asserted that if the U.S. were to implement such tariffs, Canada's response would be designed to deliver what she termed the single largest trade blow the U.S. economy has ever endured. This bold claim indicates her commitment to standing firm against American economic pressure, while also appealing to a sense of Canadian nationalism. Freeland's candidacy and her emphasis on trade issues highlight the broader implications of U.S. foreign policy on Canadian governance. The relationship between the two countries has historically been characterized by deep economic ties, yet the advent of Trump's presidency has introduced an element of unpredictability. His administration's approach to trade has necessitated a re-evaluation of Canada's strategies for maintaining its economic sovereignty. The connection between Canadian and American economies is profound, with a significant portion of Canadian exports destined for the U.S. market. Therefore, Freeland's promise to respond robustly to U.S. tariffs is not just a matter of political posturing. It carries real economic stakes for Canadian industries and workers. Her approach aims to reassure Canadians that their government will prioritize their interests in the face of external pressures. As the leadership contest unfolds, Freeland will need to navigate a complex political landscape. While her experience and assertive stance on trade may resonate with certain voter demographics, she must also address a variety of domestic issues that Canadians face. These may include healthcare, climate change, and economic recovery post-pandemic. Balancing these priorities while maintaining a strong position against U.S. tariffs will be crucial for her campaign. The presence of Donald Trump as a polarizing figure in U.S. politics will undoubtedly influence the narrative surrounding the Liberal Party leadership race. Candidates will need to articulate their positions not only on trade but also on broader diplomatic relations with the U.S., especially in an era where international alliances are more critical than ever. The landscape of Canadian politics is currently characterized by a significant shift as the nation prepares for the possibility of a leadership change. At the forefront of this conversation is a name that resonates deeply not only in Canada but across the globe: Donald Trump. His recent political maneuvers and aggressive trade policies have cast a long shadow over the Liberal Party's leadership contest, particularly as candidates grapple with the challenges posed by the incoming U.S. administration. The Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who has been in office since 2015, has faced increasing scrutiny and pressure from various fronts, including economic challenges, public health crises, and international relations. As Trudeau's tenure has progressed, the question of his leadership suitability has become more pronounced, particularly in light of his recent resignation. This has opened the door for new candidates to emerge, each bringing their own vision for Canada's future. One of the most prominent figures officially entering the race is Chrystia Freeland, who served as Trudeau's finance minister and deputy prime minister. Freeland's experience in high-stakes negotiations and her deep understanding of trade dynamics position her as a formidable candidate. Her shock resignation in December sent ripples through the political landscape, leading many to speculate about her future ambitions. Freeland is crafting her campaign around a central theme: a robust and assertive stance against potential threats from the United States, particularly in relation to trade. She has positioned herself as a trade hawk, ready to retaliate against any tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. This approach not only highlights her commitment to protecting Canadian interests, but also signals her readiness to engage in a fierce battle over trade relations. The looming threat of tariffs, particularly the 25% tariffs that Trump has hinted at, has become a defining issue in the leadership race. Freeland has articulated a clear response strategy, emphasizing the need for Canada to respond dollar for dollar to any punitive measures from the U.S. This stance reflects a broader strategy that aims to safeguard Canadian industries and workers from the economic fallout of U.S. trade policies. In her op-ed for the Toronto Star, Freeland wrote emphatically about the potential for retaliatory measures. She stated, "If President Trump imposes 25% tariffs, our counterpunch must be dollar for dollar, and it must be precisely and painfully targeted." This approach not only underscores her readiness to confront the U.S., but also positions her as a leader who is willing to take decisive action in defense of Canadian economic interests. Freeland's experience as a negotiator in the renegotiation of NAFTA, resulting in the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, equips her with unique insights into the complexities of trade negotiations. This historical context is crucial as it highlights her track record of navigating difficult discussions with American counterparts. Her ability to secure a favorable outcome for Canada in the face of challenging circumstances has bolstered her credibility among voters who prioritize trade policy. The upcoming leadership contest is not just about who will lead Canada, but also about the broader implications for U.S.-Canada relations. The dynamics of this relationship have been fraught with tension, particularly during Trump's presidency, which has seen the U.S. adopt a more aggressive posture towards its northern neighbor. The potential for increased tariffs and trade barriers poses significant risks to the Canadian economy, which is heavily reliant on trade with the United States. Freeland's campaign is likely to resonate with Canadians who are concerned about the impact of U.S. policies on their daily lives. By framing her candidacy around the principles of strong leadership and strategic retaliation, she aims to rally support from those who feel vulnerable in the current economic climate. As the Liberal Party grapples with the challenge of selecting a new leader, the stakes are high. The party must not only choose a candidate who can effectively address internal issues, but also one who can navigate the turbulent waters of international relations. Freeland's emphasis on trade policy is indicative of a broader recognition within the party that economic issues will play a pivotal role in the upcoming elections. The race to replace Justin Trudeau is not just about leadership. It is about the future direction of Canada in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. As Chrystia Freeland steps into the spotlight, her approach to dealing with Donald Trump and his administration will shape the narrative of her campaign and the broader political discourse in Canada. The question remains: who will emerge as the leader capable of steering Canada through the challenges ahead, particularly in relation to a powerful neighbor that wields considerable influence over Canadian economic and political life? Freeland's assertion that if pushed, our response will be the single largest trade blow the U.S. economy has ever endured encapsulates the intensity of the situation. As the campaign unfolds, Canadians will be watching closely to see how candidates position themselves on this critical issue, shaping the future of their nation in an era defined by uncertainty and change.